It's the final match of the 2019 Mobile Mini Sun Cup, the final tune-up before the Major League Soccer season gets underway for the Portland Timbers and Real Salt Lake on a sunny Saturday evening in Tucson, Arizona. These are two teams just 1 week away from beginning their season. This match will be a dress rehearsal of sorts for both teams, the closest that we'll see either of these teams to kind of having a regular season mentality, and that is certainly reflected in their starting lineups. Real Salt Lake is led by their captain, the 20-year veteran now, Kyle Beckerman, and the 19-year veteran, Nick Raimondo. Here's a starting 11 for RSL, similar to a starting 11 you would see last year. One addition is Everton Luiz in the defensive midfield. The back line's Aaron Herrera, Marcelo Silva, Justin Gladden, Brooks Lennon. Everton Luiz and Kyle Beckerman will hold Jefferson Savarino, Albert Rusnak, Corey Baird, and Damir Krylock the attack for Real Salt Lake, a team that finished 6th in the West in the regular season last year, made it to the Western Conference semifinals. For the Portland Timbers, this starting 11 is the same as MLS Cup, except the left center back, Liam Ridgewell, of course, replaced by Julio Cascante. It's Jeff Edinella in goal. Jorge Villafani, the left back. Cascante, Mabiala, the center backs. Eric Valentin is the right back. Diego Chara, David Guzman hold. Sebastian Blanco on the left. Diego Valeri in the middle. Andy Polo on the right. And Jeremy Ibobisi up top for Giovanni Savarese, entering his second season managing the Timbers, of course, having led them to MLS Cup 2018, a 2-0 loss to Atlanta. Well, good evening and welcome to the Keno North Stadium. I'm Jake Zivin. Real Salt Lake and the Portland Timbers, two Western Conference rivals, will meet twice this season in regular season play. They'll meet on May 4th in Salt Lake. They'll meet on August 31st in Portland. They played not that long ago, two kind of back-to-back matches, at least for the Timbers, in October. Their third and second to last matches of 2018 for RSL. They had a match in between those games on October 6th and October 21st. Both won by the Portland Timbers by 3-goal margins, 4-1 in Salt Lake, 3-0 in Portland. Corey Baird, recently capped by the U.S. national team, gets us underway. The final match, the Mobile Mini Sun Cup. Or does he? Alan Chapman, the referee, makes him do it again. Second time is the charm. We're underway now in Tucson, the Timbers and Real Salt Lake. This is the fourth match the Timbers have played here in Tucson. They're 1-1-1, and they're coming forward early. Brooks Lennon, rather Aaron Herrera, poking it away from Andy Polo. Salt Lake, it's their third match in Arizona, their second match in Tucson. They're 1-1. They beat Phoenix Rising up in Phoenix on the 16th of February. They lost to Dallas last Saturday here in Tucson. There's Everton Luiz, the only new player on the field for either team in this match. Only player added in the offseason. He's a 30-year-old Brazilian, came over from Serie A in Italy on loan for this year. Holding midfielder. It's a spot that was occupied at times by Sonny, by Luke Mulholland for Salt Lake. Sonny no longer with the team. Mulholland's still on the roster, but in this final preseason tune-up, it's Luiz getting the start there next to Kyle Beckerman. Blanco turning, trying to play it out wide to Jorge Villafani, and he draws a foul. Giovanni Savarese entering his second year as Timbers head coach, 15, 10, and 9 in his debut season last year. Of course, led the Timbers, as I mentioned, to MLS Cup, and his former Metro Stars teammate, Mike Petke, entering his third season in charge of Real Salt Lake. A 57, 44, and 30 overall MLS coaching record. Big switch from the Timbers over to Andy Polo. Chara trying to get it back to Polo, and Herrera is there to send it out for a throw. David Guzman towards Jorge Villafana, sending it back into the box, and it's sent out for a corner, the first of the match for the Timbers. Diego Valeri entering year number 6 with the Portland Timbers. Make it year number 7 for Valeri, came in 2013. Just finished year number 6. Here's Polo, and he was offside. Andy Polo offside, coming back to receive the pass. There's Valeri, the MVP a couple years ago. 10 goals, 12 assists last year. A decrease in his production from his phenomenal 2017 season, though. Would have been tough for anybody to replicate that. And Diego Chara, he's been with Portland since the beginning. Andy Polo has Ebobisse in the middle, plays it for him. It's a good early chance for Ebobisse, and it's in. Off Ramondo. The Timbers open the scoring in the 5th minute.
Portland Timbers go!
Well, the Timbers will like that. Andy Polo sprung out wide. Nobody marking Jeremy Ebobisse. Ramondo did his best to keep that out, but in the end, off his inside left foot and in. That's a start the Timbers want, and I think that sort of play from Andy Polo is really going to please Giovanni Severese. He had just 1 goal and 2 assists last year. A TAM player, a Peruvian international, was on their World Cup team last summer. I know the Timbers are excited about him this season, really breaking out, producing and showing up more on the score sheet, and he's done so in their final preseason match of 2019. Salt Lake trying to respond, trying to get it behind to Corey Baird. Cascante helps it away. Now Aaron Herrera trying to combine, doesn't come off. Krylock's unhappy. Timbers trying to go the other way. Ebobisse gets it to Guzman. Now out wide to Blanco. Villafana coming forward. Glad over to get there, and we'll see it out for a goal kick. Jorge Villafana back for a full season, another full season with the Timbers, signed in August, re-signed, you could say, in August. Was, of course, a member of the 2015 MLS Cup team, also 2014 in Portland, then went to Mexico, played for Santos before coming back to MLS and to Portland, a place that he considers sort of like home. Jeff Fadanella Timbers goalkeeper playing against his former team. Now in his third season in Portland, spent his first 4 MLS seasons, of course, with Real Salt Lake, backing up Nick Raimondo, now his counterpart on the field today. Valeri into space for Ibobasi. He runs onto it, he's onside. So waiting for help. Now Blanco will give it a go, and it sails well wide. Nick Raimondo, what a legend. Certainly not a controversial thing to say he's the greatest in MLS history. Now entering his 19th season. And his former backup in Salt Lake, Jeff Adinella, 30 years old, entering his 7th season. Raimondo, 39 years old. Most games played, games started, goalkeeper wins, saves, shutouts, and goals allowed in MLS history. Played 485 MLS regular season matches. Not too far behind him is Kyle Beckerman, sending it forward for Corey Baird. Mabiala let it bounce, but then got it clear. And then given away. Baird to Krylock, wide to Savarino. Blanco defending. Savarino around Blanco. Oh, cuts it back again. Now Brooks Lennon. Gets the cross off. He's looking for Krylock. Heads it back across and just wide. Best build-up of the first 10 minutes for RSL. Good opportunity for Damir Krylock, who obviously can score goals. Not his natural position, the number 9. 12 goals, 6 assists in 2018. 15 goals when you count the playoffs. He had 3 in the playoffs that led the team. He's playing up top again. They kind of found a gem putting him at the striker position last year. They do have a DP, RSL Sam Johnson, signed in the offseason, a big goal scorer in his own right. We'll see as RSL gets into the season what that means for Damir Krylock's role this year. He's playing in the midfield now. Corey Baird looks to be more the number 9 in how they're set up today. There's the foul on Valeri. Herrera off Rusnak, and Adinella will come to collect. Villafana. Coming back to win it is Jefferson Savarino. Herrera towards Rusnak, trying to leave it for Baird. It was awkward off Valentin and Chara, and out for an RSL throw. Aaron Herrera started the last 17 matches of 2018, including the playoffs. Won that job at left back and didn't give it up. Now in his 2nd season with RSL, a homegrown player. Beckerman couldn't get there. The Timbers might be able to go quick. Instead, Ibobasi holds it up and is fouled by Kyle Beckerman. Most fouls in MLS history, Kyle Beckerman. It's not really close. 704, 145 more fouls than the next closest. It's Jeff Lorenowitz, though Diego Chara is on the heels of Jeff Lorenowitz, and just 3 behind him entering this season will likely pass him, given his rate more prolific than Lorenowitz's. Valeri trying to leave for Polo. It's dealt with by Salt Lake. Kyle Beckerman, 704 fouls in his 463 matches. Averages just over 1.5 per game. Diego Chara, by contrast, who's 3rd all-time, 566 fouls in 232 matches. 2.44 per game, almost 1 foul per game more than Beckerman. It's just hasn't been in the league as long. Aaron Herrera hasn't been in the league very long at all, just 21 years old, draws the foul. Beckerman into the corner for Baird. Mabiala just playing it safe, sending it out for a throw. He was able to get it off of Baird, so it's a Timbers throw. Larry Mabiala, your number 3 in Portland. Certainly seems locked in to that starting right center back role. A question, of course, not only just now, but as the season goes on. And every spot, of course, is up for grabs. And that's the same of every team, but Mabiala is such a rock there the past year and a half. The question is who is going to start next to him. It's Julio Cascante right now. It's been Cascante more often than not in the preseason. Bill Tuiloma, who has a minor calf strain right now and has been out the past couple of matches, including today. Is in that. Claude Dielna, of course, brought in from New England, is in that. Here's Valeri. Blanco, first time, didn't get all of it, and Raimondo kind of awkwardly making the save. Blanco, I think, wants to have done better, and the Timbers, though, with a corner. That was Brooks Lennon. Couldn't handle the pressure from Diego Valeri. And Blanco just didn't get all of it. Sebastian Blanco was so good against Real Salt Lake last season. 3 goals and 2 assists in those 2 matches in October. Valeri serves it in. It drops in the box. It's cleared by Salt Lake. Not out of danger yet. Blanco sending it wide. I got all of that one, but couldn't get it on frame. That match in Salt Lake City on October 6th. Timbers won 4-1. Both teams were trying to lock up playoff spots, or at least almost lock them up. It appears to be an issue with Nick Raimondo. Looks like his eye. Alan Chapman, the referee today, checking it out. It was kind of awkward when he went down to save that Blanco shot. Took it off the chest. He's going to give it a go. Andrew Putna is the backup for RSL today. He got up off the bench to go get warm. As Raimondo sends it to midfield. Nifty from Zarek Valentin. Speaking of position battles, the Timbers just signed Jorge Moreira from River Plate, a right back. Zarek Valentin, who played so much at right and left back last season. Started 30 of the 34 regular season matches and 4 of 6 in the playoffs. Will certainly want to impress Giovanni Savarese. Zarek will today. Try to keep his spot. There's Zarek Valentin, 27 years old, 4th season in Portland. A little nifty footwork to keep it away from Albert Rusnak. Kind of contract extension this offseason. Blanco waits for Villafania to overlap, then goes direct towards Ebobisse. Herrera with Ebobisse chasing. Timbers are pressing high. Salt Lake already had 1 giveaway in their defensive third. They're able to just get this towards midfield. The Timbers retain possession. Valeri turns, tripped over the ball. Blanco is able to get it to Villafana. Early cross. Herrera, clearance only as far as Valeri, but he couldn't handle it. Salt Lake struggling to get it clear and to maintain possession. Timbers winning it back at midfield. Herrera bumps Polo. Cascante, big ball into the corner. Andy Polo. He's going to run at Herrera. Polo off Herrera and out for another Timbers corner. Already an assist today for Andy Polo. Valeri serves the corner in. Mabiala, Ibobasi keeps it in play. Mabiala goes back to Villafana, sending it back post. Diego Valeri, Rusnak with a touch before Valeri could get there. Polo flicks forward to Valentin. Rusnak was able to keep that from going out for a corner. Now Savarino turning. Given away. Blanco read it well. Savarino wide to Lennon. Lennon cutting it back. Patient from Salt Lake. Justin Glad into the feet of Krylock, flicking it over to Savarino. Oh, Cascante's touch right to Baird, and Adanella makes the save. Best look of the night for Salt Lake. Corey Baird couldn't finish. Looked like Baird wanted to take it with his right initially, ended up kind of spinning over to his left. And Adanella reacting well. Near post, oh, in a real dangerous spot. Beckerman turning, saved again by Adanella. Just got in front of it and kept it out. Larry Mabiala is going to need a moment. Saw the save from Adanella. Larry Mabiala. Helped to his feet by Julio Cascante, and Jeff Adanella, smile on his face. He'll be all right. Just takes a little time. Came mid-season 2017. Scored 5 goals last year in 2018, most in MLS for a defender. Started 31 matches, had played every minute up until August. Guzman forward for Polo. Polo, touch past Herrera. Gonna play on with advantage. Polo to the end line. That's off Herrera. It's a corner for the Timbers. We've seen a lot of that this preseason from Andy Polo, using his speed on the right wing. Herrera, just not enough maybe to bring Polo down, and he avoids a booking. Alan Chapman did have a little talk with him a moment ago. Valeri's corner, headed away by Krylak as far as Villafana. Blanco. Mabiala is still forward. They can't get on the end of it. Lennon sweeps it away. $10 goals, 11 assists last year for Sebastian Blanco. 7 and 5 in the last 13 matches of the season. He really turned it on late, including into the playoffs. Scored that phenomenal goal against Kansas City. And Bobasi stayed onside. The ball kind of held up. It allowed Silva to get to it, but it's another corner kick for the Timbers. Valeri serves the corner. Oh, bounces in a dangerous spot. Timbers can't take advantage. Severino does well to bring that down. Carry it to safety. And eventually into touch. That ball kind of eased up a little bit. Polo's got some speed, but in the end it was pretty safe for Ramondo. Blanco stepping forward over to Chara. Chara's cross is off Herrera, and the corners keep coming for the Portland Timbers. Again, Valeri, this one to the top of the box. Villafana, right-footed volley is well out of Aquino North Stadium. Would have probably rather had that on his left, or Villafana. steps around Chara, ends up with Krylock. Comes off Cascante, and the offside flag comes up on Demir Krylock. About a body length off, it appeared. Justin Glad forward for Corey Baird. Lennon, first time ball, high into the air from Mabiala. Viafania only as far as Baird. Nice control from Baird, no call from Chapman. Here come the Timbers. Blanco over to Chara, leaves for Valeri. Valentin. Guzman back towards Valentin. Did he keep that in? No, he did not. It's an RSL throw. Chara pokes it away. RSL gets it back, and Diego Chara called for the foul. RSL goes quick. Lennon. Around Viafania. Viafania sliding in, does well to keep it in play. Here come the Timbers. Valeri has a Bobasi down the middle, trying to find him, and Silva back defending for Salt Lake. Beckerman towards Savarino. Cascante lets it run, and Viafania heads it back to Adanella. Jeremy Bobasi in the 5th minute, the lone goal scorer in this match. Andy Polo had the assist. Both teams have had chances since then to get on the scoreboard. Timbers probably with more of the pressure, but Salt Lake a couple good opportunities as well. Valentin to the feet of Valeri, flick around Silva. Bobasi wasn't there. Guzman into Bobasi, and he goes all the way back to Viafania. Blanco, Valeri, Polo coming forward again. It's Silva breaking it up. Heavy touch from Corey Baird. Looks like Blanco took a hand to the face inadvertent. Krylock through for Savarino. Cascante lets it run. Adanella 17 yards off his line to collect. Polo, nifty back heel to Valentine. Mabiala direct into the chest of Valeri. Was hit with some pace, difficult for him to handle. Villafana forward, Guzman making the run, ends up with Blanco, into Ibobasi, leaves for Polo, and it's dealt with by Salt Lake. Still pressure though, Guzman, Villafana overlapping, Guzman thought about taking it himself. Gets it to Valeri, touch into Ibobasi, try to draw a foul, not given. Cascante tried to head it into space. RSL might have some room to come forward. Savarino breaking. Savarino into the box. Savarino is saved by Adanella. A quick counter from RSL, and Jefferson Savarino almost leveled the match. Just a left hand to keep it over. Rusnak now to take the corner. Oh, no, would have made it to Silva. I don't think he thought it was going to get to him. Went past a few Timbers defenders. Rusnak, around Blanco, was caught flat-footed. Now Rusnak chipping it in. Mabiala wins the header. Guzman high into the air. Luis forward to Savarino. Savarino off of Villafana. And another corner kick is coming for RSL. Rusnak looking into the sun to take this corner. Justin Glad knocked down. Another save from Jeff Adanella. Third time, maybe fourth in this first half. He's really come up big to keep Salt Lake off the scoreboard. That was Corey Baird. Second time that Adanella's done that to Baird. We might have a check. Alan Chapman doesn't have his finger to his ear, but they're clearly holding play. Could there have been a handball or a foul in the box? Checks over. No video review. Another corner for Salt Lake. That came off Beckerman, and it's a goal kick for the Timbers. Went a little too quick. Ball was still moving. Herrera, a couple fouls on Andy Polo in this match. Andy Polo's a handful. Again, played a lot of 2018 in the line of 3 in the Christmas tree. A little more defensive than maybe he'd been used to playing. And at the end of the season, we saw him in a 4-2-3-1 on the wing, as we see him today, able to use his speed a little more to get forward in that formation. And he's been a threat today. He was a threat towards the end of last season. Also played a slightly more defensive role in the Christmas tree quite well for a lot of the 2018 season. Saw him on the side of a diamond as well. Timbers deploying so many formations in Giovanni Savarese's first season. At the end, they settled on the 4-2-3-1 and got all the way to MLS Cup. Severino towards Luis. Luis floating it in. Krylock first time over the bar. Well, better the past 5 minutes or so from Real Salt Lake, who are pushing for their opener. Lennon. Back to Rusnak. Krylock came off Guzman. Brief little shout for a handball. I think that came off Guzman's head. So Lake will try to go quick. Brooks Lennon. Chance to cross. The offside flag up on Krylock. He's holding his hands out like he didn't touch the ball, but you don't have to touch the ball for it to be an offside infraction. Just have to affect the play. Still protesting is Damir Krylock. A tough one. Certainly it's a situation you don't see much, with Lennon just kind of dribbling past him, who Krylock in an offside position, but clearly must have done enough to warrant being involved in the play. Glad direct towards Baird. Trying to knock it down to Savarino. Valentin off Rusnak. Chara to Valeri. Over to Polo. Try to get it back to Valeri. It's off Beckerman. Valentin, tough ball to Cascante, and with Savarino chasing, he's no choice but to send it back to Adanella. Herrera tried to get it down to Rusnak. Valentin forward to Valeri, who handled it. Luis to Lennon. Villafana steps in to win it. Guzman to Chara. Back to Guzman. Tough ball for Blanco to handle. Kept it in play, but right to Glad. Timbers win it back. Here's Blanco coming forward. Andy Polo over to Valeri. Valeri first time, back to Blanco and in. The second for the Timbers. The combination from the two longtime friends, Valeri and Blanco. It's 2-0.
Number 10, Sebastian Blanco.
It clearly looked to be on behind Herrera, held his run enough. Polo will probably be credited for a secondary assist as well, his second of the day. The second goal for the Timbers today. Valeri, Diego Valeri and Sebastian Blanco, who played together in Lanús in Argentina as youth, reunited in Portland, entering their third season together here in Portland. Their chemistry, such an important part of this team and their attack, and the run at the end of last season really showcased that. Baird is offside. The flag is up. David Guzman. There will be no stoppage time, or very minimal stoppage time at the least, in this first half. And that's it for the first half. The Portland Timbers 2-0 over Real Salt Lake. Jeremy Ibobasi in the 5th minute, Sebastian Blanco in the 44th minute, goals that bookended the first half, and they have given the Timbers a 2-0 lead over their Western Conference rivals, RSL. We're going to take a halftime break. We'll come back with first half highlights and the second half, the final match of the Mobile Mini Sun Cup in Tucson, Arizona. At the half, it's Timbers 2, Real Salt Lake 0. We're back at the Keno North Stadium in Tucson, Arizona. It's the final match of the Mobile Mini Sun Cup in the 2019 preseason. The Portland Timbers lead Real Salt Lake 2-0 at the half. Here's how it went down. Started early for the Timbers in the 5th minute. Blanco to Polo to Jeremy Ibobasi, behind and off Ramondo and in. Timbers made it 1-0. Blanco and Polo, they would be involved in the second goal a little later. Blanco almost had a second goal earlier. Valeri, the pressure. Blanco didn't get all of it. Nick Ramondo able to make the save. Timbers defensively doing some good work. Eric Valentine, some nifty footwork. And then Salt Lake came close. Corey Baird hopping on maybe a misplayed ball from Julio Cascante, unable to get it past Jeff Fadanella. We had some good saves in the match. Andy Polo, he was a handful all first half down the right side. A lot of good work to win a few corners. Jeff Fadanella again making some big saves. Count them kind of 4 times, big time saves that he made in the first half. Here's the second goal from the Timbers. Polo, Valeri, Blanco, 2-0 in the 44th minute, 2-0 at halftime. Sebastian Blanco, a goal and an assist in that first half. Andy Polo with 2 assists, Diego Valeri an assist, Jeremy Ibobasi a goal. Valeri having a chat with the referee today, Alan Chapman. This is the final tune-up for both these teams, Real Salt Lake and the Portland Timbers, before the regular season starts next Saturday. Both teams, you can figure, treating it like a dress rehearsal. These are very realistic starting 11s for both teams. Brooks Lennon and RSL underway with the Portland Timbers in the second half. Timbers lead 2-0 entering the second half. Timbers will begin the 2019 regular season next week in Colorado. It's a 3 p.m. Pacific time start. They'll, of course, play the first 12 matches of 2019 on the road as Providence Park continues its expansion, its construction. Certainly be fantastic on June 1st when it opens, but it'll be a long 3 months away from home for the Timbers. Salt Lake starts also on the road March 2nd at Houston. It's a 4 p.m. Mountain Time start. Their home opener is on March 9th versus Vancouver Whitecaps, also 4 p.m. Mountain Time. RSL gets 3 of their first 4 away from Rio Tinto. Not great, not quite what the Timbers have to deal with 12 straight away. Lennon looking for Baird, trying to get behind Mabiala, who cuts it off. Krylak coming forward around Mabiala. Krylak leaves for Baird. Polo was there. Valeri, nice turn around Louise and draws a foul. Everton Louise, as mentioned earlier, the only new player on the field for either team. Signed on January 7th. There's Jefferson Savarino entering his 3rd year. Louise, a 30-year-old defensive midfielder, Brazilian, started his career in Brazil. Been all over, and that was not a good-looking collision. Jeremy Ibobasi and Marcelo Silva. Both guys immediately holding their heads, and both athletic training staffs immediately coming out to check on the players. Silva just right into the back of Ibobasi. Silva to his feet, rather to a knee. Ibobasi stays down. Ibobasi scored the first goal of the match, coming off his U.S. debut against Panama on January 27th. Corey Baird also started that match, made his U.S. national team debut in that game. Ibobasi was so good at the end of last season, just 8 minutes in the first 26 games for the Timbers, then became the starter pretty much the rest of the way. Won that starting job all the way to MLS Cup. End of the year with 2 goals and 2 assists. One of those goals came against, one of those assists as well came in Salt Lake on October 6th. Bobasi and Silva both on their feet now. It's a Timbers free kick. Bobasi will stay on. Silva will have to wait to re-enter the match. Valeri serves this to the back post, almost made it to Cascante, fell in a dangerous spot, and Lennon is able to get it clear. Polo to Valeri. Valeri sends it across off Beckerman, and Raimondo is able to keep it from going out for a corner. Blanco smartly puts it off Lennon. Nifty footwork from Cascante, confident to keep it away from Corey Baird. Cascante, 18 starts last season at center back, started 14 in a row from March to August. Liam Ridgewell got that spot back by the end of the year on the run to MLS Cup. But it's been Cascante in this preseason more often than not paired with Larry Smabiala. Villafaña, it's clean. Through for Ibobasi, a chance for Ibobasi. Silva gets there first. Strong tackle, and it's a corner for the Timbers. Blanco, Villafaña, serving it to the back post. Nobody's there. Timbers were 8-3-2 in the 13 matches that he started in 2018. That includes the playoffs. It's an important mid-season, even late-season addition signed on August 8th when the Timbers run to MLS Cup. Savarino with Lennon on his right, instead goes into the middle. Good ball. Valentin gets it away. Luis leaves it for Beckerman. Lennon over Krylock. Rusnak, full volley, saved by Adanella. Severino, full volley. He didn't get all of that. It's easy for Jeff Adanella in the end. Well, Adanella has made 5 saves today that could be considered kind of highlight reel, or at least good opportunities for Salt Lake. We know Albert Rusnak can hit a volley, scored some phenomenal goals last season for Salt Lake. And he got all of that one. But Adanella able to keep it out. Beckerman direct. Mabiala knocks it down. Valentine forward for Guzman. Taken away well by Krylock. Louise. Glad, direct, looking for Krylock. Run out for a Timbers goal kick. Another look at the Rusnak volley. He definitely hit that well. And Adanella keeping that from the side netting. Oh, he slips on the goal kick. Rusnak can't take advantage directly. Beckerman over to Rusnak. Cuts inside. Rusnak. Mishit it. It sails wide. That was Corey Baird, rather. Rookie of the year last year. Corey Baird. 8 goals, 5 assists. Homegrown. Spent 4 years at Stanford. He was teammates with Timbers homegrown forward Foster Langsdorff, who's on the bench today. They won just a few championships there, 3 straight NCAA titles. Baird started for the U.S. in both of their, you'd call them January friendlies at the end of the January camp, even though one was in February. Against Panama and Costa Rica, had an assist against Panama on his debut. There's Herrera into Rusnak. Poked away by Valentine. Shara blocks the shot from Louise. Lennon past Rusnak and up for a goal kick. 10 goals, 7 assists for Albert Rusnak last year. Signed a new deal at the end of last year through 2022. Reported around $2 million per season, the highest paid player in Real Salt Lake history. He had 14 assists in 2017, his first year in the league. 10 goals, 7 assists last year. 24 years old, still relatively young. That's not a young player by international standards, but plenty of career ahead of him. Forward to Krylock, headed over to Rusnak. Villafana sends it out for a deep throw. Severino trying to turn. He got around Guzman briefly, and then Shara took it away, but Shara gives it away. Lennon whips the cross in, dangerous ball. Mabiala heads it away. And Lennon trying to control that with his head out into touch. Brooks Lennon didn't start the first 2 matches of 2018 for Salt Lake, then started 35 straight the rest of the regular season and the 3 playoff matches. As a right back, was an attacking player for the U.S. youth national teams. Converted to a right back and certainly flourished in that spot last year for Salt Lake. Number 15 on MLSsoccer.com's 22 under 22. And 5 assists last year as a right back. Louise gets it over to Lennon. Severino. Still Severino. Oh, it's a good ball. Baird knocking it down towards Krylock. Adanella pounces, got a touch. It's not clear. Krylock whipping it across. Baird saved by Adanella. That was a good chance for RSL. Baird just couldn't direct that with enough power. RSL has had more of the buildup, and you have to say they've been better in the buildup in the second half than the first. They had chances in the first half, though. Those were more kind of off quick counters or off set pieces. We've seen a lot of the ball in the second half. Timbers lead 2-0, 5th minute, Jeremy Ebobisse, 44th minute, Sebastian Blanco. RSL looking for Baird. Valentin, the touch, but it goes right to Herrera. Herrera towards Rusnak. Rusnak, Krylak, full volley. Again, right at Jeff Adanella. That's set up well for Damir Krylak. Speaking of guys who can hit a volley, maybe if that were more straight on and he took it like a karate kick, would have been better for him. What a goal he scored in the playoffs against LAFC in the knockout round. A 3-2 win for RSL in Los Angeles to advance to the Western Conference semifinals. They lost to Sporting Kansas City there, 5-3 on aggregate. The Timbers, of course, would beat Sporting Kansas City in the Western Conference Finals. Almost a giveaway from Justin Glad. Lennon was able to help, but the Timbers have it. Valeri forward for Villafana. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can. Ebobisse couldn't get there. Silva sends it away. It's a corner kick for the Timbers. Valeri into the 6, headed away by Krylak. Helped towards midfield by Rusnak. Savarino held off Villafana, but Chara there. Plenty of time for Valeri now. Valeri floating it in, headed away only as far as Polo. Full volley, blocked, ends up Guzman. Guzman, patient. Still David Guzman. Now Villafana, knocked down by Beckerman. Valeri the bicycle, and it's easy for Raimondo. Guzman trying to draw a foul inside the box. Call wasn't given. Guzman is still down behind the play, and Alan Chapman will hold the restart. Guzman looks like he'll be okay. He just needs a little time. I mentioned that U.S.-Costa Rica game that Corey Baird started in. That was on February 2nd, a friendly. David Guzman started for Costa Rica in that match. Also started 3 for them at the World Cup in 2018. Entering his 3rd season with the Timbers, Giovanni Savarese speaking with the 4th official. Thought that was a foul. David Guzman was kind of the host for the Timbers for their first part of their preseason down in Costa Rica. The Timbers spent 10 days there training at the Costa Rican National Team Center. But by all accounts, it was a wonderful experience for them. Of course, Guzman not the only Costa Rican on the team. Julio Cascante, Marvin Maria, also on the squad. But those 3 really showed the Timbers. It sounded like what the Pura Vida was about, the Costa Rican culture. Bobasi chasing. Raimondo has to just send it forward. Timbers want an offside call. They don't get it. Rusnak holding it up. Krylock. Herrera. Rusnak. Baird. This time the flag comes up. Too soon. Guzman lost it. RSL coming forward now. Savarino cutting inside around Chara. Baird giving it a go over the bar, but a foul on the top of the box and a dangerous set piece coming for RSL. Alan Chapman waited to see if an advantage would materialize with Baird, and then he brought the foul back. Chara shown a yellow card, the first card of the match. A little bit of a shove on Savarino. Had 11 of those last year, Diego Chara. Has 68 in his MLS career. We'll take it now for Salt Lake. It's in a real good spot for them. They trail 2-0. Jeremy Bobasi in the 5th minute. Sebastian Blanco in the 44th. The goal scorers today. Beckerman, Rusnak, Savarino. All there, Savarino leaves. It's Rusnak, it's into the wall. And I think it's off the face of Zarek Valentine. As Chapman has stopped play and Timbers athletic trainer John McGregor has immediately sprinted out. Yeah, right in the temple. He took one in the knockout round against Dallas. Similar situation. Gotta be brave to be in that wall, of course. Looks to be all right, smiling a bit. Drop ball, Timbers will just send it back to Salt Lake. Savarino couldn't handle it. Here come the Timbers. Blanco with the Bobasi making a run. Instead goes into Valeri. Valeri tried to get it through to Polo, and Beckerman cut it off. Krylock gets around Chara. Cascante over to Mabiala. Oh, Valeri, nice touch around Beckerman. No choice. And a yellow card will be shown by Alan Chapman, the second one today. Beckerman and Chara into the book. You could get, you wouldn't get great odds. Those are the two guys that you would expect the most to be shown a yellow card. 110 yellow cards in Kyle Beckerman's MLS career. That's the most in MLS history. His 20th season, his 13th with RSL. He's the only player in MLS history with over 100 yellow cards. All-time field player leader in games played, minutes played, fouls and yellow cards. The longevity of him and Nick Raimondo incredible, both on that 2007 Salt Lake team. Raimondo actually joined the team today, 12 years ago, in 2007 was when he was brought over in a trade from New York. This is his 13th year in Salt Lake. Beckerman was a midseason trade that year, so he's been here just a little bit less than Nick Raimondo. What success those two guys have had in Salt Lake. Strong tackle from Luis. It was all ball. It was clean. Certainly got the ball, got a little bit of Guzman as well, but Cascante forward. Big switch from Blanco over to Valentin. Krylock wide to Savarino. Savarino running around Cascante, floating a back post. Rusnak can't bring it down. He will run it down. Rusnak into Beckerman. Well, it's a giveaway. Herrera couldn't handle it. Nobody really for Bobasi to play off of on the counter. Did a nice job to get it over to Guzman, and then Beckerman does a nice job to win it back for Salt Lake. Lennon defended by Villafana. Villafana defending him well and draws a foul on Brooks Lennon. Strong header from Justin Glad. Valeria has a word with Alan Chapman, who says that was all right. Lennon thought that that ball was already out of play when he made contact. Timbers get the throw, and here they come. Polo on the left. Polo around Herrera. Polo, oh, it's in! Through Raimondo from the narrow angle. It's the third for the Timbers.
Number 11,
He's had himself a nice game. 2 assists, now a goal. Beating Nick Raimondo through the legs. Near post. You have to think Raimondo will want that one back. Just a little toe poke from Andy Polo. Was he trying to get it to Jeremy Bobasi? Was he going for goal? Well, he'll take the goal either way, and it's 3-0 for the Timbers. The Desert Corps, they always show out in good numbers here in Tucson for these preseason matches. The branch of the Timbers Army, fans based here in Arizona. Certainly some traveling supporters as well. Preseason games in Tucson for supporters of any team give a nice little kind of winter vacation option for fans. You can spend some time in the warm weather and also watch soccer, though this past week didn't really work out. It's been cold. It's been in the 50s, and yesterday snow blanketing Tucson. The Timbers forced inside for training. Salt Lake forced onto a turf field. It warmed up today. The sun came out. Everything melted by yesterday afternoon as Diego Valeri is going to be shown a yellow card, the third yellow of the match. It was really a nice day today, about 50 and sunny, though when the sun goes down in the winter in the desert, it gets chilly. Valeri just clipping Savarino. Next week it's going to be in the 70s. The MLS teams here this week, not as lucky with the weather. Rusnak, Glad heads it high into the air. Ibobasi a strong defensive header. Glad putting it back into the box. Again, it's Ibobasi. A couple of USU 20 teammates playing a little ping pong with their heads. And now Rusnak draws a foul, and another dangerous set piece is coming for Real Salt Lake. Similar distance, a little to the left. A little bit ago, it was Rusnak who took it. This looks like it's going to be Krylak's. It is Krylak. Up and not down enough as it just goes over the bar. Has a goal off a free kick already this preseason. Right into the camera. Damir Krylak. Target practice for him, but that's not the target he wanted. Had a free kick goal against Phoenix last Saturday night up in Phoenix on February 16th. Had 2 goals in that match. Unable to get one so far tonight. Valeri tried to help it on to Polo. Herrera was back defending to keep it away from Valeri. Oh, Guzman goes sliding. Here comes Rusnak. Sebastian Blanco has stayed down. You saw Damir Krylak calling for that ball to be put out of play. That's why Brooks Lennon's so wide open. And Damir Krylak continues to tell Lennon to play it out, and he does. And now Timbers athletic trainer John McGregor will come to check on Sebastian Blanco. He has a goal today. A secondary assist. Don't know if secondary assists are given in the preseason. If they are, he would get one on the Timbers' first goal. Yes, it's just all up to each his own. But certainly, if anytime Sebastian Blanco goes down, it would be a concern for the Timbers. He was so influential and is so influential to this team and their attack. 10 goals, 11 assists last year, 7 and 5 in the last 13 matches. That includes the playoffs. His lower back, it looks like that he's holding on to and wincing a little bit. On the bench for the Timbers today is kind of a modified kind of half-strength bench. Renzo Zambrano, Eric Williamson, Christian Paredes, Lucas Milano, Foster Langsdorff, Claude Dielna, and a backup keeper, Jake Leaker. Both these teams had scrimmages of sorts, you could call them, kind of informal matches earlier today so that everybody could get fitness, not just the guys that were playing as close to 90 minutes as possible in this match right now. So everybody in the team able to play a match. So that's why for both teams the benches are maybe not quite what you'd expect given who's on the field. Blanco has come to the bench, and I think his night's going to be done. Timbers temporarily playing down a man as Foster Langsdorff gets ready to come into the match. Blanco gets a nice hand, goal and an assist today. Here's Salt Lake. Switch over to Savarino. His cross is well over Krylock. And Polo can see it out for a throw. Looks like Eric Williamson also ready to come into the match for the Timbers. And they're going to do so before the restart. Williamson appears to be the sub for Blanco. And you'll also see Foster Langsdorff coming on for Jeremy Bobasi in a moment. Here's a Bobasi coming off. Had the opening goal in this match in the 5th minute. Count us underway. And Foster Langsdorff coming on to replace him. Langsdorff, a homegrown, 23 years old in his 2nd season with the Timbers, yet to play in MLS. Started for T2 last year, 14 goals. Tied for 11th in USL. Spent 4 years at Stanford, paired with Corey Baird. Those two guys were just dominant, led a dominant Stanford team that won 3 straight national titles. They also had a guy named Jordan Morris for the first national title, at least. Those teams were stacked. Langsdorff chasing after Justin Glad. Luis holding off Guzman. And then just lost it into touch. And then Glad called for the foul. On Foster Langsdorff. Pac-12's career scoring leader, 37 goals, 86 points. Valeri into Polo, back to Valeri. Lennon brings it down, goes back to Raimondo. Langsdorff chasing. Raimondo just does get it away. Williamson to Villafana. Beckerman sliding in. Now Guzman. Polo taken away by Baird. Severino nutmegs Williamson. Now wide to Corey Baird. And Timbers recover well, and they force Baird to go back to Louise. Severino trying to get around Valentin. Severino looking for Lennon, who kind of held up his run. Timbers will make another substitution. Renzo Zambrano is getting ready to come on, and he will come on for David Guzman, third sub of the match for the Timbers so far. Salt Lake has yet to make one. It's preseason. Substitutions, of course, unlimited. Renzo Zambrano into the match, 24 years old, signed to the first team from T2 in the offseason. Spent the last season and a half with T2. Venezuelan, has 2 caps with the Venezuela national team. Here's Eric Williamson, former U.S. Youth International. We've had 5 players in this match from the 2017 U.S. U20 team that played and had a lot of success in the U20 World Cup. Aaron Herrera, Justin Gladbrooks, and Lennon from Salt Lake playing on the back line now. Bofo Sacedo also on the team. He's on the bench for Salt Lake today. Jeremy Bobasi, Eric Williamson were their teammates. Zambrano, nifty touch to come forward, and then he draws the foul. Chara coming forward. Oh, great ball. Langsdorf turning. Now Polo, no, rather Valeri. Valeri saved by Raimondo, and Lennon will sweep it clear. It looked like it was maybe going to sit up for Foster Langsdorf. He was unable to bring it towards goal. Cascante direct. Langsdorf trying to get behind, gets it over to Valeri. Valeri leaves, Polo settles and wins a corner. Here looked like it was maybe going to be a chance for Foster Langsdorf. He tried to cut it back. Herrera was over to cover and ended up with a nice save from Nick Raimondo. Now the corner Valeri already has 2 assists tonight. He serves the corner in. Mabiala knocks it down. Flag came up. Andy Polo, I think, was offside, in a offside position when he influenced the play, so it's all right for Salt Lake. Iris Mabiala can score off those. 2 in Seattle. That 3-2 win in June for the Timbers. The first ever win for them in CenturyLink Field in MLS. And a match that really sparked Seattle's second half surge. They were unbeatable almost after that game on, until the Timbers, of course, took them out in the Western Conference semi in penalties, again in CenturyLink. Corey Baird draws a foul. The final minute before stoppage time. Roos not cut inside and then was called for a foul. We're told just 1 minute of added time, a minimum 1 minute left in the preseason for the Portland Timbers and Real Salt Lake.
That's the time. 1 minute remaining.
Timbers will end their time here in Tucson with a 2-1-1 record. Salt Lake 1-2-0. The Timbers, you'd have to think, will be feeling good, especially about their attack heading into the opener next week at Colorado. 3 goals tonight against a Salt Lake team that could very well be first choice. Salt Lake had chances. Jeff Adanella multiple times coming up big for the Timbers to keep Salt Lake off the board. Salt Lake will open up at Houston a week from today, 4 o'clock Mountain Time. The Timbers open up Colorado, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, also on March 2nd. First home match for Salt Lake will be March 9th against the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's a 4 o'clock Mountain Time start at Rio Tinto. Timbers, they got to wait till June 1st for that. The opener at home in a renovated, a new look Providence Park. That'll be on June 1st. And that's it for the final match of the preseason. The Portland Timbers 3-0 winners over Real Salt Lake. 2 assists for Diego Valeri. A goal apiece for Jeremy Ibobasi, Sebastian Blanco, and Andy Polo as the Timbers end their preseason on a winning note. Let's take a look at the highlights from this match. This is the first goal in the 5th minute. Andy Polo to Jeremy Ibobasi, and through the legs of Nick Raimondo to make it 1-0. The second goal, Valeri to Blanco, and it's 2-0 at halftime. Andy Polo, you could have given him a secondary assist on that one, 2 assists in the first half, and then Polo gets his goal. Nick Raimondo will want that back through the legs from a narrow angle to make it 3-0. That goal came in the 72nd minute, and the Portland Timbers 3-0 winners over Real Salt Lake. Both teams, again, open MLS play next week on the road. The Timbers at Colorado. The Real Salt Lake at Houston next Saturday, March 2nd. For everybody here in Tucson at the Keno North Stadium, all week, all month it's been, the Mobile Mini Sun Cup has been going on. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 2019 Mobile Mini Sun Cup, the 2019 preseason in Tucson. I'm Jake Sivan saying good night from Tucson. Final score, Timbers 3, Real Salt Lake 0.